It is important for municipalities to figure out ways to continue funding lots of services that they offer, even when the budget times are difficult. One way to do that, to continue funding parks and recreation especially, is to increase the permanent tax base. One way of doing that is to do an asset inventory, which would inventory everything within that city, what types of parks they have, how much open space is available, the buildings, the different types of facilities, the locations, the businesses, what is there, what kind of attractions does that city have to offer. In doing that, with that asset inventory, they can then create a marketing plan to market their city to attract new residents to that community. In attracting new residents to that community, it will provide a more permanent, larger tax base. Right now with the city of Benson, for example, a lot of the tax revenue is strictly generated through the current residents that they have living in the city limits. There's come a point where the expenditures have exceeded the amount of revenue that is currently being generated, and so the city is suffering a loss, which is not good. That's causing the departments to have to make cuts, reduce the services. One of those services being reduced is the services offered through Parks and Recreation. Another service that has been cut is the public library, for example, where they're now only open Monday through Friday. They're not open after 6 p.m. during the week. So that's a loss to our residents. If the revenue doesn't continue to generate or increase to meet the demand of the expenses, those services that are not considered critical or non-essential will continue to be reduced. Another way to generate additional revenue for the general fund, which is where all the monies come from to pay a lot of the bills for the city, is to make sure that the enterprise funds balance, make sure that the gas isn't costing the city more than they're turning around and selling it to the consumer for. The same with sewage and trash and water. Some of those utilities right now are helping fund the other utility. Can't remember which utility is funding the other utility. A lot of the wages for the employees that work in the departments where there is where that's considered an enterprise fund is paid for out of the enterprise fund. And so if the city has to take money out of the general fund to cover the loss on, for example, gas, during the summer the gas sales may not be as high, so there's a loss that way. There are many different ways that we can continue to fund parks and recreation, and it's critical that we talk to our elected officials to make sure that increasing the revenue is as important to them as it is to the people that would like to continue to receive services from Parks and Recreation, including the library.